Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gukarastvandhakaro Vai Rukarastanivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvad Gururitya Vidhiyate. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. On page 6, let us begin with the first verse. We will chant. I will chant, try to break the line in some sections so it will become easier to repeat. Vedo nityam adhiyatam taduditam karma svanushthiyatam tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papaugah paridhuyatam bhavasukhe dosho nusandhiyatam atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam. This is the, you can say, advice given or instruction given. Adhiyata me one. So Vedaha Nityam, as you said, every verse has 4 lines, each line has 2 halves, that makes it 8 sections. Each section contains one Upadesha or one instruction. First instruction is Vedaha Nityam Adhiyatam. Vedaha, the Veda. Nityam, daily. Adhiyatam, may it be studied. May one study the Vedas daily. First instruction. Meaning that the instruction starts from where we are. From the very first step that we should take, says that may the Vedas be studied every day. Second, tad uditam karmasvanu taduditam, mentioned by them. Tad uditam, see the translation. Uditam, mentioned. Tad, by that. So, what is mentioned or stated by the Vedas? Karma, the action. So, karma or the duty that is stated or enjoined by the Vedas, anushtiyatam, su-anushtiyatam, may it be performed very well. So may one very well perform the duties enjoined by the Vedas. First, study the Vedas every day. May one study the Vedas every day, and may one very well perform the duties enjoined by the Vedas. Third one is Tena Ishasya Vidiyatam Apachitihi. Tena, by that, or by this means, Ishasya, of Ishvara, Vidiyatam, may it be done, Apachitihi, worship or honor. So by that, by the performance of duties enjoined by Veda, may one perform the worship of Ishvara. We'll understand. So first study the Vedas, follow instruction of the Vedas, make your life a worship of Ishvara. Fourth, kamye matistyajyatam, kamye, in the desire, mati, intent, tyajyatam, may they be given up, meaning that may one now give up the desire prompted actions. So of the actions we are performing, drop the actions that are performed with desires. So dropping comes. So give up the desire prompted actions. Then says Papa Ogah Paridhuyadam. Papa Ogah, some of all the papas, the whole host of papas. Papa means sins. Paridhuyadam, may it be destroyed. So may you destroy the host of sins that have been accumulated. So give up the sins. Give up the desires, prompted actions, give up the sins. Then says Bhavasukhe dosha anusandhiyatam. Bhavasukhe, in the experiential pleasures, dosha, limitation, anusindhyatam, may it be seen. May one see the dosha, the defect involved in all the worldly pleasures. Then seventh, Atma Ichcha Vyavasiyatam. Atma Ichcha, the desire for Atma. Vyavasiyatam, may it be entertained. May one entertain the desire for knowledge of Atma, knowledge of self. One may entertain desire for self-knowledge. And finally, Nijagruhat Turanam Vinirgamyatam. Nijagruhat, from one's own home. Turanam, quickly. Vinirgamyatam, may quickly leave one's home. A little drastic. So these drastic things, we'll try to make them as mild and palatable as possible. So these are the steps of a ladder. Usually when you climb the first step, then you are ready for climbing the second step. Meaning that climbing the first step prepares us for climbing the second step. Meaning that each step prepares us for the following step. You can say that the second step will happen when the first step happens. So as we master each step, automatically we are prepared for the second one. So now let us take them one by one. So first is Vedaha Nityam Adhiyatam. So actually translation is may one study the Vedas every day. That's the literal translation. But the translation written is, may you study the Vedas, because one means what? It's being told, so may you study the Vedas every day. So this is in the context of the ancient times, when it was customary. So this was the study. Education meant study of the Vedas. That was our education system. Traditionally, a student would go to the teacher, live with the teacher, and study from the teacher over a period of as many as 12 years, if necessary, and master the Vedas. Usually master one's own branch of Vedas. Because Vedas are 4 in number: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. And even in those Vedas, there are different recensions. Like Yajur Veda is the most famous Veda. It has 2 recensions called the Black Yajur Veda, the White Yajur Veda, Krishna Yajur Veda, Shukla Yajur Veda. Even that White Shukla Yajur Veda in turn again has 2 recensions. They are well-known recensions. The Madhyandina and the Kanva. So Madhyandina Shukla Yajur Veda, Kanva Shukla Yajur Veda, then the Black Yajur Veda, then so thus the Shukla Yajur Veda and Krishna Yajur Veda. Krishna means black, Krishna Yajur Veda. Of Shukla again there are 2 recensions. In fact, Vedas have many recensions of these have survived. These are presently being practiced. Of them, the most famous is Krishna Yajur Veda. The Yajur Veda, what is so called Krishna the Black or the Taittiriya Shakha, which is most famous for its Karma Kanda. The Yajur Veda is most famous for Karma Kanda. Its application is in performing various rituals. But the instruction was that everybody belong to one or the other branch of the Veda traditionally, because each one of us can trace our origin to a Rishi. It's called the Gotra. And whatever recension of Veda that Rishi belonged to, also we belong. So some people say we are Krishna Yajurvedis, we are Rigvedis, we are Samavedis. So whatever branch of Veda your tradition, your family belongs, one should study that branch of the Veda. Swadhyaya adhyetavya. One should study one's own branch of Veda. So that was the education. Because studying the Vedas was a complete education. Vedas also were studied with what they call Vedanga, or the limbs of the Vedas. The Veda, imagine a body having 6 limbs. Anga, 6 limbs. And so, Vyakaranam, Chandah, Jyotisham, Shiksha, Kalpaha, Vyakaranam, Chandah, Jyotisham, Niruktam. Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, and Chandah, Jyotisham. So, Shiksha means the science of phonetics, the science of pronunciation. Kalpaha, the science of performance of rituals. Vedas describe many rituals. How to perform those rituals? There is a whole branch in the Shastra called Kalpa. Vyakaranam, grammar of course. The Sanskrit Vyakaranam we should know so that we would know the language so we can understand the text. Niruktam is like the dictionary of the Vedic words. Niruktam. Chanda, the science of prosody, the different chandas or meters are there, and the science pertaining to them is Chanda. So, and then Jyotisham. In astronomy, because we should know basic astronomy, a priest should know when is Amavasya and when is Purnima and when the sun rises there, when the sun sets, because rituals are prescribed to be performed on a certain day and a certain time. Then later on it also developed into Jyotisha means the
Prediction.
yeah. But Jyotish basically means the astronomy. Then become astrology also. So it is, anyway, this is just for general information. It was traditional to study Vedas along with these branches also. I said Vedas has primarily two subject matters. Well, Dharma is the subject matter of Veda. Dharma means a righteous way of living. So, am I making this sound? Is rubbing here? Okay. So, Dharma. Dharma is a word derived from dhru, means to uphold. So, dharana, dharma, that which upholds is called dharma. Something that upholds the entire universe. There is a niyati, an order, an order. So, if you observe the universe and you find that the whole universe is functioning in an orderly manner. All the elements comprising universe, they all function according to their nature or according to the tasks assigned to them, as though every element is assigned, like sun is assigned a certain task of illumining the world, rising at a certain time, setting at a certain time. So does moon, so does earth, and water, and fire, and every atom, everything seems to function in a systematic, predictable manner. Because there is a predictability, there is an order in the whole universe. Because of which there is harmony among all the elements and there is cooperation. So you find that the whole universe functions in a spirit of cooperation, in a spirit of harmony. Secondly, we also find that everything in the universe also functions in the spirit of contribution, that everything contributes to the running or functioning of the universe. Everything offers its own contribution. So sun offers its own contribution, so does moon, so does every atom. So this is how the universe is. Further, if you observe the universe, we also find a wonderful relationship that the Upanishad says of upakaraka, upakari, upakaraka. That every member or individual or entity comprising the universe favors the rest of the universe and in turn is favored by the universe. Meaning each one of us, by being what we are, automatically favor or contribute to the function of the universe, and we in turn are also the recipient of the contribution of the universe. This is upakarya, upakaraka. This is how the universe is created. This is the moral and spiritual way of looking at the universe. There is a scientific way of looking at the universe, of course. Scientists, they measure a variety of forces in relation to cause and effect, which is all fine. But we are going a step further. Like there is a moral law, there is a spiritual law, which also governs in not only the mechanical laws of physics or science, they govern the universe, but there is a moral order also, and there is a spiritual order also. It is moral order that gives rise to various values, like non-violence, truthfulness, honesty, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, straightforwardness. So these are all according to moral order. And therefore the Vedas teach that our life should be in harmony with the prevailing order, which is a moral order of the universe. And then there is for the spiritual order. What is spiritual order? That each one contributes and becomes also the object of the favor of contribution by others. So spirituality begins where life of contribution comes. Morality is there when you follow the moral values, and spirituality is when we become contributors. Meaning that it is not enough that we are morally right, which should be, of course. So there is the first level of dharma that Vedas teach as to how to live a moral life. Why should it be so? Because that is for our own well-being. When we live a life of moral values, such as non-violence, such as truthfulness, and even this moral order also is in our puja, words of Puja Swami, is a common sense order. What is the common sense order? I should not do unto others what I do not want them to do to me. That's only one aspect. But by the same token, I should reach out to others the way I want them to reach out to me. So this becomes the very basis of living the life. As far as the universe, other than human being is concerned, they are already programmed to live in this manner, meaning that the whole nature, sentient and insentient beings comprising the nature, they automatically contribute, and then they also become the recipients of the contribution of the rest of the world. That order is already built in order. Now, the human being is somewhat of an exception because he is an evolved being. This morning we say that the evolution makes human being a self-conscious being. The second level of evolution is free will. The human being has the gift of free will, meaning the freedom of choice of what to do, what not to do, how to do. Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam. That freedom of this is evolution. So we are number one, self-conscious beings, and number two, we have the freedom of choice. When the freedom is there, there's always a possibility of abusing that freedom. Because that self-consciousness makes me aware of myself that I am an inadequate being. Whatever is my self-consciousness, I am a limited being, inadequate being, insufficient being. I am not all right as I am. I have to become something to become all right. I must achieve something to become all right. I must acquire something to become all right. You see? As I am not all right. Meaning that we are born with a self-dissatisfaction. Because we are aware of ourselves, we realize that we are limited being, inadequate being, and therefore we are not content or happy with the way we are, and therefore there is an impulse in each one of us to do something so that we become happy or content with ourselves. This is the basis of all the desires. So all the desires primarily arise from a sense of self-non-satisfaction. Because of my awareness that I am an incomplete or inadequate being, the inadequacy I cannot accept, that's another thing. If I was happy, being incomplete, no problem. I'm incomplete, fine. Inadequate, fine. I failed, okay. You insulted me, no problem. Suppose that was the thing, then we would have been happy. That's what the dogs and cats are, by the way. Doesn't matter that. You insult them, okay. For a moment it may feel, then it forgets. They don't, but then we are not like that. I have value of being a respectable person because then only I can accept myself. My primary need is for self-acceptance. Unfortunately, I do not accept myself as I see myself. Therefore, there is a need on my part for being accepted by you. Therefore, I'm always seeking acceptance by others, approval by others. I want to be approved by you, accepted by you. And when do I feel that I'm approved by you? When you respect me, when you like me. When do I think you like me? When you do what I want you to do. So see how our demands from others around ourselves, that we want them to do what we like them to do, meaning that we want them to please us. That's the basic need. Since I cannot please myself as I am, I need you to please me, and when you do that, then I feel happy. When can you please me? When you do what I like you to do, and do not do what I don't like you to do. You understand? I have specific likes and dislikes, and when you fulfill my likes and dislikes, then I am happy. When you do the opposite, I am unhappy. Meaning that I empower you to make me happy or unhappy. I am helpless being. I am not capable of making myself happy, and therefore I depend upon you to make me happy. I am begging you all the time, please fulfill my likes and dislikes. So this is the state of a human being. This being the case, because of its inadequacy, sense, and second thing that I feel is insecurity. Because I am a limited being, one among millions, one among countless beings, and therefore always feel the need of protecting myself because I feel threatened by the world. The sense of being threatened, feeling insecure, and therefore the need of feeling secure. That insecurity makes me always protecting myself. That makes me a self-centered person. I will secure when what I like happens or what I dislike does not happen. Therefore, it becomes necessary for me to make sure that the world does what I like and does not do what I do not like. I need all the time manipulate the world to make them do what I like and avoid what I do not like. See what we are doing constantly. This is called samsara. This is constant struggle, constant stress, and constant source of all the sorrow. This my insecurity creates these desires, creates likes, because if you make me feel secure, then I like you. If you somehow by your behavior make me feel more insecure, I dislike you. Therefore, my relationship with you, with the world, is one of like and dislike. Except that my structure of likes and dislikes is on changing. Swami, what about your breakfast? They were all fruits, because that's how it was last year, fruits and nuts. This year, no, now this year I take milk and cereal. So what about, why? That's all. Why Swamiji? That's it. So sometimes in the evening I eat something, next year I eat something else. So this is all changing likes and dislikes. That being the case, regardless of what you do, it is not possible even for Bhagavan also to make me happy, because by the time Bhagavan satisfies my desire, it has changed. So I am constantly manipulating the world, understand, in order to make it favorable to me, to fulfill my likes and dislikes, fulfill my desires. That means that fulfilling my desires is very important to me, because then only I feel happy. In that process, it is quite likely that in manipulating, I might even compromise the moral values, because values always are relegated to background. Primary thing of importance is my happiness, and that is when I get what I want. And in that process, it is likely that I might compromise or violate the values. Because speaking truth is good, I know. Honesty is best policy, all right. But what do I get by honesty? I don't know what I get. But by compromising honesty, the gain is very simple. That I get $1 million, I get something tangible. Meaning that practicing these moral values does not seem to give me anything tangible that I can measure. Whereas very often violating values brings about a tangible gain. And therefore, the tangible gain is what? Wealth, power, fame, the standard things. So I have value for wealth and power and fame. Where did I get the value? From the world. When I was born, perhaps I did not know. But I grew up in this universe, I see everywhere people only valuing wealth and power and fame. And they are always getting the front page attention, on the newspaper and the television shows and everything, so forth. Not moral stuff. This wealth, power and fame. So therefore, they have become valuable to me as I grow in this, because I find everybody only pursuing them. So now 2 sets of values. Wealth and power and fame, meaning the worldly gain is one value which I acquired. And inside I know that honesty is the right thing to do, that's also, that is universal value also are there. 2 sets of values are there. But when there is a conflict, honesty on one side and $100 on the other side, it is likely that the honesty may lose the battle and $100 may win the battle. Formerly, even the newspapers were, they used to pile up newspapers, you put money then and pick one. I don't think these days it may be, is it there? I don't know if it's there or not. But I remember many years ago when I was traveling in the morning, at the bus stop, the newspaper was there, you just put money and take one. Anyway, so moral standard is slowly deteriorating, I guess. But the thing is that when it comes to, then when there is a clash or a conflict between my acquired values, worldly values and these moral values, is likely that moral values may be compromised, meaning that human being has the freedom to abuse the freedom. Nobody else has that freedom, so the rest of the universe is in harmony with the order. Except human being has the freedom to violate that harmony. So that's why these scripture Vedas teach us the values. Satyam vada, dharmam chara, swadhyayan ma pramadaha. Satyam vada, speak truth. Dharmam chara, follow right value, righteousness. Do's and don'ts. So first section of Vedas teaches us dharma, or the right way of living, by way of do's and don'ts, number 1. They also teach us what kind of rituals we should perform to fulfill our desires in this world or here or hereafter. That's the first section of Veda. So Veda nityam adhiyatam. May you study the Vedas daily or regularly, means that first of all study the Vedas and learn dharma, the righteous way of life that the Vedas teach. All scriptures teach. In this case, Vedas. In those days, studying Veda was adequate enough, because it told us Vedas have all the branches of knowledge that way. So when you study the Vedas, you are prepared for entering the next stage of life called life of the householder. As you know, the Vedic culture sort of looked upon the life as consisting of 4 stages: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. Brahmacharya, life of student. Grahastha, life of householder. Vanaprastha, life of a retiree. Not a retiree in the sense not doing anything, but then now forest dweller. What do you do in forest? Tapasarya. Means penance, life of austerity. So life of study, number 1. Life of activity, number 2. Life of austerity and penance, 3. And sannyasa, life of renunciation, the 4th. These are visualized to be the 4 stages or 4 stages of the maturity of a human being. Even though tentatively they were divided into 4 equal number of, equal span of life, 25 years each. Meaning first 25 years, life of student, second 25 years, householder, third 25 years, forest dweller, meaning penance, austerities, prayers, worship, and last 25 years, renunciation, pursuit of knowledge. But that's only tentative. It is possible that just because person is 25 doesn't mean that he's ready for getting married. We think 25, getting married, which is good. But the thing is, marriage is not an ordinary thing, It's only when you get married that you realize what commitment you have made. Yeah, really. And so now this marriage is taking place and the girl is going, to her in-laws. And she's crying. So the younger brother, why is sister crying? He says she's crying now. But later on that fellow will cry for the rest of the life, But anyway, so this is the... everything needs a lot of maturity, but that it is not for us to discuss right now anyway. But every stage means maturity of the mind. Like entering a household means maturity. Hopefully the person has gained that maturity. And vanaprastha means maturity, sannyasa means stages of maturity. So Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam, the life of a student is described here, that he studies the Vedas and gains the basic knowledge of how to live life based on the moral values. Based on also, he knows now, he is going to enter life of a householder where a lot of desire, ambitions are there, and means also are given to fulfill those ambitions. Meaning that the Vedas recognize that human being has ambitions. And right now they do not give you education on vairagya or renunciation, how to fulfill ambitions and desires by legitimate way. So people ask, Swami, what should we tell our children about Vedanta? I don't teach them Vedanta, but teach them basic values. Yeah, but vairagya, no vairagya. Youngsters don't have taught vairagya. Because they have desires, they have ambitions, and that's what drives them. So what do we teach them? You fulfill your desires and ambitions based on the moral values. Meaning, do not compromise means for the sake of the end. Don't achieve something at the cost of somebody else. Don't trample upon the rights of other people. So, and you have the freedom to achieve your goals. So, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam, second stage is, now you enter the life of a householder, then you perform, now you live the life according to what you have studied. So, next line says, Taduditam karma svanushthiyatam. Vedas enjoined various karmas, the duties upon everybody. Svanusu anushthiyatam. Sushtu anushthiyatam. So may you perform those duties very well. Vedas teaches the life of duty. Now that's a very interesting and a unique concept that Vedas teach. Life of dharma also means duty. So Vedas recognize that every human being should live life of duty. Obligatory duty. What is obligatory duty? That we are obligated. What is obligation? Obligation is paying back the debt that I already incurred. So Vedas look upon life of a human being as a life of paying back the debt, because we are born with debts. We are indebted. Even before we are born and during our life throughout, we are indebted to many aspects of the universe for sustaining our life, for enabling us to live the way we live. So Vedas recognize that there are 5 kinds of living beings upon whom our life depends. There are 5 kinds of living beings in the universe whose favor we constantly receive and whose contribution in our life enables us to live the life the way we are able to live. Who are these 5 kinds of living beings? So 3 worlds are recognized. Heaven, intermediate world, the world of mains, and the world of mortals. In heavens are inhabited by the devatas or gods. So gods are, devata means the shining ones, like the sun and the moon, all the fire, all the shining ones. So they are all called devatas. Let us say the various forces of nature. They are called devatas or gods or manifestation of Ishvara, because you can say that Ishvara is manifest of the universe. So the whole functioning of the universe is possible on account of all these various natural forces. But the sun and the moon and the fire and the earth and all the 5 elements and everything else. It's called devatas. In those days, Indra was a devata, Varuna was a devata, Agni was a devata, Vayu was a devata. These are all the natural forces. And their contribution in our life is very clear to us. Sun provides us the light and energy, the moon provides us the nourishment, earth provides us support and our food, and every element provides us something on account of which we are able to live, meaning that their contribution in life is very clear. So we are indebted to devatas. In between our pitrus, the departed souls, the ancestors, we are indebted to them also, because they have given us, we are our ancestors have given us all the culture and so we have inherited all the samskaras and everything, including our body, our genes, everything from them, and so indebted to them, including our parents, of course. On this earth, indebted to the rishis, or the teachers, who have given us the knowledge. Also, other human beings who are doing what they are doing to make our life possible, like the farmers and like the merchants and like milkman and postman and teacher, and everybody contributes in our life, human beings, and rest of the nature, consisting of the plants and insects and animals, and all of them directly or indirectly contribute to our life. See, the unique, you can see how the whole Vedic vision is a eco-friendly, not only eco-friendly, but in harmony with the ecology. That's how they prescribe the life of human being. We should live in harmony with the rest of the universe. Meaning that we are members of the universal family. Because the whole universe supports us. Upanishad says that when this person, now therefore Vedas prescribe that every day we should have 5 food offerings in our life. Offering to devatas, offering to the pitrus, offering to rishis, offering to the human beings, and offering to other creatures. 5 kinds of offerings must be there. This is prescribed by Vedas. It's called duty. What is duty? Returning the favor. And thus every human being was enjoined the duty of making these 5-fold offerings. Duty. I'm duty bound. So this is a very common term, duty bound. Even when you go for your work, I'm going for duty, they say, Going for duty. That's how they look up like us. And duty towards parents, duty towards siblings, duty towards the country, to the society, we are all duty bound. We are all bound with each other with duty. What is my duty is your privilege. What is your duty is my privilege. That's the beauty. Meaning that there is not a society of privilege, a society of duty. When everybody performs duty, then the rights also are automatically taken care of. What is because my duty is your right of privilege, your duty is my right. And therefore everybody's rights are automatically protected. And this was the Vedic structure. So, taduditam karma svanushtiyadam. The Vedas prescribe many daily and obligatory and incidental duties which we should perform in order to live a life of harmony. Harmony with the rest of the universe. So dharma also means duty, dharma also means values, life of values as well as duty. Then further, third line says, Tene tshasya vidiyatam apachitihi. Tena karmana ishasya apachitihi vidhiyatam. So, you perform your duty all right. But now you go a step further. So, this is where spirituality comes. That you perform the duty in such a manner that your duty becomes the worship of Ishvara. Tena ishasya apachitihi vidhiyatam. Tena, through the performance of duty, let that be performed in such a manner that it becomes the worship of Ishvara. So Vedas teach how to make our life worship of Ishvara. Of course, there are special actions that are taught to us. Pujanam, japaha, chintanam, kramat. Pujanam means a daily worship we perform at the altar. Japa, the recitals, chanting. Chintanam, the meditation, mental japa. All of this is part of worship, no doubt. But here we are told that apart from that, even the day-to-day activities that you perform, like sweeping the floor, like cooking the food, like fetching the water, like tilling your soil, like doing your accounting, like whatever you do. And what do you do depends upon your station in life. Everybody is placed in a different station in life. Somebody is a farmer, somebody is a trader, somebody is a carpenter, somebody is a lender, money lender, somebody is a priest, somebody is a scholar, somebody is a teacher, so administrator, king, ruler, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, depending on disposition of and talents and capacities and aptitude of people. Like the duties are divided, tasks are divided. Whatever task befalls according to your station of life. Because every moment we have to do something. We are related to the world and we have to interact with the world. And that interaction must be done properly. That's all. How should I interact with you? So that I don't hurt you. So that I am sensitive to you. So that I am kind to you. That what I do is not only my duty, but by what I do, I should also have the noble aim of being helpful to you. So not only I perform the duty, but the spiritual duty of is a spirit of contribution, of offering. May this action please the Lord in this form. Vedas teach that Ishvara alone or God alone is manifest to the whole universe, and therefore, what is this manifestation of Ishvara? So whoever I am interacting with is nothing but manifestation of Ishvara. So what is worshipping? Whatever I do with the spirit of worship. You worship a child, you can worship anybody. In your mind, worship doesn't mean that I have to offer flowers. Worship means worship is a spirit. When you do it at the altar, it is in a certain form. With your mother, different form. Teacher, different form. Your child, different form. Your servant, different form. Your master, different form. But I have respect for everybody. Whether he is my servant or my boss, he is my child or my father. The way I express my worship is the form is different. The way I relate to my father is different from the way I relate to my son, no doubt about that. Form is different, but the spirit is the same. Spirit of worship, of offering. Tene ishasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. May you make your duty. Apachitihi, worship of Ishvara, worship of the Lord. May you make your life Ishvara's worship. That's what Bhagavad Gita teaches. In the 18th chapter, there is a beautiful verse which says, Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamedam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. Says Lord Krishna, this verse has two lines. The first line describes who Ishvara is, who is God. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamedam tatam. Call me Ishvara. So, Ishvara, equivalent of God is Ishvara. Yatah, the one from whom is the origin of the whole universe, creation of the universe, and one who impels all the activity of the universe, because of the universe functions, runs, is impelled into activity, is Ishvara. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam. That because which the wind blows, water flows, fire burns, sun shines, earth supports, every element performs its action because of whom? So you can see Ishvara everywhere. Because air blows, because of Ishvara. Water flows, Ishvara. Fire burns. So everywhere the whole universe is dynamic, very active. Who is the one that impels all the activities? That is Ishvara. Meaning that he is the sun and impels the activity of illuminating the whole world. He is the moon, impels the activity of giving nourishment to the whole world. Gama vishaj bhutanam bhutadharayami ahamojasa. Lord Krishna says, entering the earth, I sustain all the beings. So he is the one who sustains the earth, he sustains everybody. Pushnami chausadi sarvaha somo bhutva rasatmakaha. As the very moon, I provide the taste and the sap and the nourishment to all the plants and vegetables. Aham vaishvanaro bhutva pranyanam dehamashritaha. I reside as the digestive fire in the stomach of all the living beings, staying where I digest all kinds of food. And this it says, Yadaditya gadam teja. Here Arjuna, the light that you see in the sun and the moon and the fire, know that to be my light. As sun, moon and fire, I live in the whole world. As moon, I nourish the whole world. As earth, I sustain the whole world. As fire, I digest all the food. He is constantly doing things without our asking for it, So Ishvara is the one from whom all the activities are, who is the originator of all the activities, impeller of all the action. Aham sarvasya prabhava mattas sarvam pravartate. I am the origin of everything, and everything also is impelled by me. So wherever you see an activity, recognize that Ishvara is there as the one who impels that very intelligence, very consciousness that impels all the activities. The whole universe is active. There is no inaction anywhere. Even an atom also is active. Everything is active. Ishvara provides the dynamism, the activity, the life force to everything. Yena saramidam tadam, and one by whom everything is pervaded, who is the self of all. As the inner indwelling self, as the inner controller. Lord Krishna says, perform your duty in the spirit of worshipping that Ishvara. So which Ishvara? This Ishvara. Of course that altar also is Ishvara. But then That's a small puja room. Our Swami used to say that from the small puja room, I come out to the universal puja room. The whole universe becomes that's the idea. They look upon the universe as manifestation of Ishvara. It doesn't happen in one day. This is our spirit bhavana. Teneshasya vidiyatam apachitihi. So not only now you massage the legs of your father, that's a duty. But then, in that sense, you worship the Ishvara in that form. Not only you do something for your mother, worship Ishvara in that form. Do something for your child, also worship Ishvara in that form. Your neighbor, anybody you interact with, have the spirit of worship. Our Swami simply said, transform yourself from being consumer to a contributor. So Swami used to say, when somebody comes before me, the first thought in my mind is, how can I be useful to this person? How can I be useful to the person? First thought. What is my first thought? When you come before me, how can I use you? That's my thought. From this tendency to use others, slowly transform yourself to being useful to others. It's a big transition. That's a spiritual. That is called spirituality in life. When I transform myself from a consumer to a contributor. So one can be a religious person. Meaning that you are a religious person, do all your pujas and all the yajna, dana, tapa, everything that we do, which is fine. But in all those actions, when I perform a homa, when I give charity, when I do pilgrimage, etc., in that also there may be a personal agenda as to what I expect, what benefit I expect out of this. A personal agenda would be there. Slowly, that personal agenda has to be dropped. So fourth one says, Kamye matistyajyatam. When does my action become a worship? When it is reward of kamana, meaning when it kamana means self-centered desire. Self-desire for self-gratification is called kama. Kama means a desire for self-gratification. So gratification of my senses by way of sense pleasures. Gratification of my emotions by way of my emotional interactions. Gratification of my intellect by way of intellectual activities. Or gratification of ego by way of power and fame and wealth. Constantly seeking gratification. That's what a human being does. Alright, that's the first stage. As long as you do that based on the moral values, so long you're okay. Then you're a religious person. Good to be religious. But next step is being spiritual. That those activities now I perform not for my benefit, but for being a means of benefit to others. So transforming ourselves from a consumer to a contributor is a great transition. So fourth line says, Kamye matistyajyatam. Give the desire for things anyway. So, what is kamya? As I said, the desire for self-gratification. It is a kamana. Desire for self-gratification is called kama here, self-centered desire. Matistyajyatam. Slowly transform yourself from a self-centered person to an other-centered person. But Swamiji, what do I get from that? You say that you transform yourself from using others to being useful to others. What do I get from that? Because our question is, what do I stand to get? And ultimately that question will remain anyway. So when Vedanta or Bhagavad Gita prescribes that we slowly transform ourselves from consumers to contributors. Is there some personal gain? Had been no gain, they would not ask us to do it. In fact, there is a greater gain. What happens? When I perform just one act of kindness for anybody, there is immediate reward in terms of discovering a self-satisfaction. So whenever I reach out, because that is in keeping with the order. As we said, we should not do unto others what we do not want them to do to us. By the same token, we should reach out to others the way we want them to reach out to us. We want the whole world to be kind to me. Is it not so? I do not want anybody to be cruel to me or everybody to be kind. I want you to forgive me. Even though I may have committed some fault, done something wrong, I don't want to be punished. I want to be forgiven. So that's my expectation from others. Well, just reach out to others in the same way. So when I am able to forgive genuinely, I forgive you. That is not forgiving, So I have forgiven. So I forgive, but I can't forget. So if you cannot forget, means forgiving has not happened, So when somebody misbehaves or does something to hurt us, the people do. They insult us, they do things by which our feelings are hurt. And we keep that hurt with ourselves. Sometimes we retaliate, sometimes we are not able to retaliate, then all the hurts are kept inside. How to overcome the hurt? By kshama or by genuine forgiveness. This is just an example here. So one act of kshama, one act of forgiveness, how it is rewarding. That's the reason why I am just taking that one example. Somebody has done something which has hurt me. And I have all justification to retaliate. Because he's done it, so I have all the justification to retaliate. To punish that person, retaliate in some way, settle the score. But then suppose I say I settle the score, then he will settle the other score. Then that's how the settling score never ends. In Mahabharata, this Dronacharya was a young Brahmin boy, and Drupada was a young Kshatriya, prince, and both of them were studying the same Gurukulam. And actually Brahmana was much brighter. So Drona was much brighter, so he would always help Drupada in all the tests, wherever homework and everything. And so Drupada also graduated, but he was very indebted, They were friends, and he said, when I become king, I'll give you my half kingdom. That's what Drupada Jantrasri said to Drona. And they separated in their own ways. Many years passed, Drupada became king, all right. Here Drona was a Brahmana. Brahmana means poor. Because Brahmana has no source of income. See, Brahmana is not supposed to trade or anything in the traditional way. Only pathanam, pathanam, yajanam, yajanam means he teaches. And he officiates, the rituals and things. And whatever people give him, the society has to support the Brahmana. The kings and the wealthy people should support the Brahmana, is expected. But he doesn't have an independent source of income. So Dronacharya was a very poor man. His wife Krupi and then his son Ashwathama. To such an extent that mother could not even provide milk to this boy. So she would take this wheat flour, mix water in there and make it look like wheat, and that's the kind of milk that this fellow was drinking. And when he happened to go to his friend where he got real milk. Then he realized what real milk is. And he said, Mom, you are cheating me. I want milk. Mother said, where am I going to get me? So came to her husband, look at this. We can't even provide milk to our son. You are saying that Drupad is a friend. And what about him? So why don't you go and then tell him? No, no, I'm a Brahman, I don't beg, I don't stretch my hand, I won't beg, I won't ask for any favor. But anyway, ultimately, the wife could prevail upon him and at least made him go to his court. And Dronacharya goes to Drupad's court. And Drupad doesn't even recognize him. Who are you? I am Drona. Who is Drona? No? Oh, don't you remember? We were all studying together. Oh, I say. Just Drupada, refused to honor him and he was rejected. Let alone given half the kingdom, was not even honored. Insulted, Dronacharya comes back and then hurt. Revenge. In course of time, Dronacharya became the teachers of Pandavas and Kauravas, and all the princes were highly skilled in the art of warfare. And then Arjuna is declared the best student and says, "Sir, what Guru Dakshina should I give?" Go in and defeat Drupada. Bring him here. So Arjuna goes and fights with Drupada and defeats and brings Drupada and is made to bite dust at the feet of Drona. Says, "I'm letting you go. I'm giving you half kingdom. I'm letting you go. Get lost." Same way that he was made to get lost. Drupada. Insult in front of everybody. So he performs a yaga. He can't defeat Dronacharya himself. He performs a yaga. Wants a son who will kill Dronacharya. And that comes, Drishtadyumna comes, for the one who's in earmarked for killing Dronacharya. In the battlefield of Mahabharata, Dronacharya is killed by Drishtadyumna by whichever way. Then it's an Ashwathama, He says, "Oh, this is my father's." So that's how this is passed on. When genuine forgiveness is not there, one retaliation leads to the other, that leads to the third. And Ashwathama kills Pandavas because Pandavas have killed his father. And he thinks this game, but he found of killing Pandava's sons. At night he did not see the difference. And then their mother Draupadi, "You bring him here." So Arjuna goes and brings Ashwathama. His head is to be chopped off, and finally Draupadi says, "No, let him go. I'm a mother and I know what happens to a mother when a son is lost." So he also has a mother. So that is where this thing ended, But how retaliation always leads to retaliation. The only way to end that chain is by kshama, a genuine forgiveness. By recognizing that all aggression comes from insecurity and pain. That Drona was in pain, so he punished Drupada. He was in pain, so he punished Drona. He was in pain. It's pain, an insult that does it. Outwardly, the behavior looks very aggressive, but inwardly, insecurity, pain. So say that, look at the person behind the behavior. The behavior only will prompt a retaliation. That's called the one-step response. Two-step response. Step back. And rather than responding to the behavior, respond to the person behind the behavior who is in pain. But he's aggressive, attacking. But in fact, only insecure people are aggressive. A person who is secure in himself doesn't have to attack anybody. All aggressiveness comes from insecurity. All anger and insult comes from pain. If we recognize this, then it will be possible for us to see that person and discover a sympathy for that person. And then a genuine kshama or forgiveness will happen. Not "I forgive you." You forgive, but you retain the hurt anyway. And then that always remains with us. The only way to neutralize the hurt is by this genuine kshama or forgiveness. So this is called act of kindness, act of forgiveness. What does it do to me? I feel good about myself. I've done something right. because this is what I would have expected if I had been in this position. So Lord Krishna says, treat others as you treat yourself, which is very tough. But even once when I am able to do, when I will treat others the way I would have liked to be treated, when I am able to do that to others, it gives me a great satisfaction because it is in keeping with the order prevailing in the universe. So whenever I follow the law, there is always a reward. I feel good self-satisfaction. Meaning that I tap into satisfaction from my own self. So two ways of getting happiness. One way is happiness coming from the objects other than myself. Second is happiness coming from myself. This is now we have to do transforming myself from being consumer to contributor is tapping into the alternative source of happiness, which is myself. Once I get the taste, I would like to do more and more of that. Kamye matistyajyadam. So mati here is intent. So may you slowly grow out of desires. May you slowly grow out of the tendency to use others. May you slowly grow out of a tendency. Then by developing the tendency of being useful to others, being a contributor to others, discover the satisfaction from yourself. When this happens, the third step, the next step will happen. So this is how the spiritual progress takes place in life. What is spirituality is this. Start with the righteous life and graduate into the spiritual life. Okay, we'll continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.